Hello, God bless you today, and thank you so much for joining me. The topic of our video today is getting an understanding. Why this hard road? Well, this message today is for believers, particularly those going down a hard path that God is allowing. We're going to make some sense of it today, and you're going to get some answers by the end of this video. I'm talking about a hard path, one that really humbles you. It causes you to lower your head from time to time. Well, right off, I'm going to give you some hope. And that hope is found in Zechariah 13 and 9. Here, Zechariah talks about a refiner's fire. When you're going down a hard path, God is refining you, He's shaping you, and He's molding you. There is a purpose, and that purpose is good. As well, Philippians 3 and 20 says we want to know Jesus and the power of His resurrection and the fellowship of His sufferings. We like the power of His resurrection part, but the fellowship of His sufferings is a little difficult. And also consider Hebrews 5 and 8. It says, even Jesus learned obedience through suffering. So hard paths and suffering, it works something in us. And particularly we today, we have so much willfulness, and it really is broken quite a bit on a hard path. Let me give you a Bible example. And that individual is Joseph, found in Genesis 37 and on throughout that book. You find that Joseph was sold into slavery by his brothers. He was wrongfully accused by Potiphar's wife and ended up in a dungeon, in a prison. Now, later on, we find that he was elevated second only to Pharaoh, but he walked a hard path for a long time. What was God doing in his life? He was making him a leader to lead a nation. There's some things that we are to learn here, folks. And the first is embrace this path that God has you walking on, this path that He is allowing. We see here that Joseph did just that. You know what? In that prison, they put him in charge. There was a jailer that was supposed to be doing particular work. That jailer went and got a Coke and a pack of nabs and put Joseph in charge. And guess what? Joseph did the job. He allowed God to work with him. God refined his character. He embraced that path. He let God mold him. Philippians 1 and 6 says that he who began a good work in you is going to complete it until the day of Jesus Christ. On a hard path, we're also being taught to persevere. One of the fruit of the Spirit is long suffering. And this fruit is obviously developed as we walk a hard, long path. Expect, though, to see the goodness of the Lord, the glory of God in your life. Again, there is a purpose to all of this. I'd like to share with you now that on this road you have help. 1 John 2 and 1 says that you have an advocate with the Father, Jesus Christ the righteous. Jesus is advocating for you on this path before the Father. Hebrews 7 and 25 says that Jesus ever lives to make intercession for you. Not only does He save you to the uttermost, He's also interceding on your behalf. Glory be to God. And then as well, Romans 8:26 says that the Spirit Himself makes intercession for us with groanings that cannot be uttered. So we have Jesus advocating and praying for us, and the Spirit of God praying for us as well while we're on this path. Let me give you another Bible example, and that is of David. In 1 Samuel 17, David was the youngest of all of his brothers, practically forgotten about when Samuel came to anoint a king. He'd been on the backside of a grazing field somewhere tending sheep, and there he had a hard path, having to kill lions and bears, but he was being groomed to take on Goliath with a slingshot and stones when mighty warriors could not do the job. God was doing a mighty, mighty work within David. One thing I'd like to share with you, a mighty work is being done with you as you're cooperating with God. It's being done within. And I'm going to also give you a tip. Use the gifts and the talents that God has given you. As you notice, David did not use the armor of his brothers. He said, I haven't proved these, I haven't tried these. But he used what God had equipped him to use, and he was a victor. So key points here, folks, are for us, for you. Keep your spiritual focus in all of this. I was reading an author who wrote the other day that eagles that fly high do not worry about crossing streams. I know this hard journey can suck you into the natural, but keep your spiritual focus as much as you possibly can. Then as well, realize that you are being raised within to be mighty in God, to take on the tides and currents and Goliaths of this day here on this earth, and then one day to reign eternally with Jesus Christ. Keep your spiritual focus and consider Psalm 3:3. Thou, O Lord, are a shield for me, my glory, and the lifter up of my head. You know what? I often think about this song that C.C. Winans sang a while back entitled Alabaster Box. You don't know the cost of the oil, what I have been through. You don't know the cost of the oil in this alabaster box. Last but not least, I'd like to encourage you from 2 Timothy 2:12, which says, if we endure, we shall also reign with him. Glory to God. I pray you are encouraged. Thank you so much for listening. This is Just Iris. Please think on these things.